Let's talk about betatization, avoiding betatization as much as possible. So betatization is part of the shit testing that we talked about earlier. Women will test your competency. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. It's not also a question of whether or not you will go through betatization as a man in a long-term relationship or a marriage. It's to what extent. All men, regardless of the fucking frame that they have, how unplugged they are, how much of a great fighter. Like, I've seen MMA fighters. There's world-class soccer players, athletes, amazing at their craft. Stadiums full of people. Yeah, they buy jerseys with the fucking name of some other dude, and they wear a jersey with the name of another man on their back. Men want to be these guys, but they will go and do something retarded, like marry a woman that's 15 years older than them, or get involved with a gal that's a single mom with 3 kids from 3 different fathers, right? Even though they're a world-class MMA fighter, even though they're an athlete that, doing something phenomenal and wonderful with their life. You will go through betatization as a guy. Make good choices. There's going to be certain times where these shit tests will come up, and it's just like, I don't know, like let's say you got a flat tire. You know how to change a flat tire. And one of the lug nuts is like rusted solid on the wheel. You're having a hard time getting it off. And she's standing there behind you. Oh, what's the matter? You don't know how to change a tire? My dad knows how to change a tire. Why are you having a hard time? Do we got to call CA? Do we got to call my dad for help? Woman, get in the car, sit down and be quiet and watch the kids. Okay? That's how you pass a shit test. And then you figure it out. You create extra leverage with the bar so that you get a little more torque out of it. You figure it out. You take care of it. That's what's required of you as a guy. She's going to test you. She's going to try to put you in a position. And they don't do it because they want you to be unattractive. They don't do it because they want you to be ugly to them. They don't do it for those reasons. They just do it because it's in them. Because evolutionary speaking, women have to know that they're with the best that they can get. And that's all a shit test is. What are you, some kind of moron? You can't change a tire? Becky's husband can change a tire. Why can't you change a tire? Why are you having a hard time with that lug nut? Why is it stuck? Woman, be quiet. Get in the car. I got this. That's it. That's how you pass the shit test. It's just part of their testing that is going to happen. You're going to be dealing with that in a long-term relationship. Oh, but Rich, that's too much. The juice is not worth the squeeze, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it isn't. Why are you in the relationship to begin with? Why did you take on a relationship to begin with? Knowing the things that I talk about, right? Why? Pay attention to these things. Betatization. Let me tell you another story. I'll never forget this. So I built a custom home years ago. We're having a backyard event. Family's over, kids' birthdays, running around, barbecue, family, blah, blah, blah. 2 doors over, this is before fences went up and stuff were going on. The builder hadn't quite finished it just yet. 2 doors over, quite a ways away because the yards were wide. You hear this woman yelling at her husband. They had a small family event going on, and she's yelling at her husband. Brad, why can't you help me with the baby? What's the matter with you? You're totally useless. Blah, 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 blah. Keep in mind, this is in front of their family over there. Then 2 doors over, there's my event with what's going on over here. And they're all within earshot, and this woman disparages him in front of all of these people. Now, I guarantee that wasn't the first time, and I guarantee it won't be the last time. And every time that things like that happen, her interest, her genuine desire in him, which she might have had early on in the early days when he was a tough guy in his 20s and he had the barbed wire tattoo and he was muscular and he took care of himself, he looked good and he had some style, when she was strongly attracted to him, slowly over time, because he allows certain behaviors and language and, these disparaging statements, shit testing him, he allows them, he permits them, will continue. You will get out of life what you tolerate. You need to be able to put your foot down if she ever tries to shit test you and betatize you in front of families like that, you know, with a statement such as, "What's the matter with you? You're such a moron. Why can't you help me with the blah?" You got to stop that. You got to stop that shit as soon as it happens. Not necessarily in front of everybody else. The conversation needs to be had. Don't ever talk to me like that in front of my family. That is a line in the sand. You draw the line in the sand. Okay, let's talk about bottom lines. A bottom line, you draw a bottom line in the sand. You point at it and say, "This is my bottom line. If you cross this line, I am going to know that you don't want to be with me anymore and we're done." Aim her face at it. See it? This is the bottom line. You've made it very clear. You've drawn that line in the damn sand. She crosses that line, there has to be consequences. I told you, Becky, you don't talk to me like this. If you have a problem, we'll deal with it. You need to be respectful. This is disrespectful. That passed my bottom line. Now, you're in a long-term relationship now. You got kids. You're kind of fucked. How do you turn back the clock on that? It's something you got to deal with early on as soon as it happens the first time, right? You're driving and you know, you're going somewhere and the Waze or the GPS doesn't work and you get lost or some shit. "Well, what's the matter with you? You can't find where we're going. Hardy, hardy, har. Woman, be quiet. I got this. We're getting to where we're going. Chill." Betatization. Oh, and the last thing is, I know that a lot of guys, and I've done this before too, a lot of guys will quote a lot of red pill stuff, right? Stuff out of my book, out of other guys, you know, from the Mano Swamp, some pickup artist course that they might have picked up, Amuse Mastery, you know, negging. They might quote some of the aspects that they've learned that are effective, that women respond positively to. Don't do that. They don't want the game to describe to them as you play it. They just want to be a participant in it. They want to be a recipient of the benefits of a strong, masculine, virtuous male that's leading a relationship properly. Do you understand? They don't want to understand how the game works. They don't want to hear you describe how the game works as you sort of go through the game. "Well, the reason why I did this is to induce competition anxiety in you so that you would have more desire for me." And it's like, don't tell her what you're doing, why you're doing it. Don't explain it to her. They don't want to know. And to be honest with you, even if you try to explain it to them in simple and concise terms, they don't even really fucking understand anyway. A lot of these chicks from the Mano Swamp, the Pearls of the world and stuff like that, they'll say a lot of the things that have been discussed amongst men as we're swapping notes, but they don't fully fucking understand the mechanics behind it. They just know that, oh, people respond when that's said, so I'm going to say this to my thirsty simp audience and they're going to get it as well. Don't explain the game to women. Just play the game. Okay? They don't want to know the rules. They don't want to know the strategies. They don't want to see you put it on a whiteboard where circles and X's and arrows like fucking, you know, they do with football and stuff like that. Just play the game. Be the game. That's the other thing too, is you should get to the point where you're not studying game. You're not like reading about it on a consistent long-term basis. Do refreshers. Like every once in a while, I'll grab an old audiobook that I got on my Audible list. Like I listened to The Evolution of Desire, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. I pulled it up in the last month and I listened to it again. And there's a bunch of, you know, bookmarks, you know, things that I pulled up, a few other things that I pulled out of it that I might have missed the first time or forgotten about it. That's fine. But don't explain the steps to her. You don't break it down, right? You just, when a chick buys a house with a guy, or he buys a house and she moves in it, sort of thing. But when a house is being built and there's steps that are being taken to build it and the foundation's being laid and, you know, are we going to use wood struts or metal ones or what kind of drywall? Where are we going to see it? Like, they just want the finished product. They just want the beauty of the finished product. They don't want to know how it's built. Same thing with cars. Guys like, I mean, I do anyway, but a lot of guys will study cars, engine displacement, compression ratios. Are the valves solid state? Are they sodium filled? What kind of valve springs? Are they titanium? Are they still? Like, we'll study all the details. Women don't fucking care. They want to push a button that starts it, put it in D for go, and press the gas pedal and go somewhere. They don't really care about how it's all orchestrated. It's the same thing with relationships. She just wants the benefits of being led by a strong, virtuous male that just fucking gets it, that doesn't need to explain things to her along the way. Because even if you try to explain things to her, there's zero benefit whatsoever. She's just not going to care. And it's, for the most part, if I'm being honest, going to be interpreted the wrong way. He's manipulative. He's deceiving. Oh, what if he's, he says these things. What if he's banging other chicks on the side? And it's like, it just gets out of hand. Again, she just wants to be a participant going along from the ride, benefiting from it, the future benefits and all the other things with a chat, like a stud that actually gets it. I really hope you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full-length podcast, you can find that over here, that clip's from. If you're newer to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe over here, and pin down below in the top comment, you'll find a bunch of useful links to my website, my supplement line, books, and a bunch of other stuff. Have an amazing day. Peace out.